Calling all wolf and lupine enjoyers, this is Spruce and Studs, and we are going to be taking a look at an action figure that was released quite a while ago, but I just never really got around to it until pretty much now. So in this one, we are going to be stepping back a little bit in time and taking a look at the Thunder Wolf Calvary and see what JoyToy is going to offer us. So there's nothing to do except go right into the review. Alright, first and foremost, we are going to take a look at the Space Marine. Obviously, always starting off with the head area. And just by looking at this action figure, it really reminds me of the first edition of these JoyToy action figures, in that you see a lot of shading that's happening and slightly messy painting, especially in the head area. When we were taking a look at this Space Wolf's mohawked hair, there's plenty of highlighting that's happening here. And then moving on down to this action figure's face, you get to see a bunch of highlighting within the beard area. Clearly there's a bunch of shading around the nose as well as the mouth region. And then the eyes seem to be screened on fairly nicely. So taking a look at the pauldrons, we get to see that this looks like a version 2 action figure because you can see the plastic loop right here. And there is plenty of shading that's happening around the pauldrons of this action figure. You can see a Space Wolf's chapter symbol, and this is a raised piece of plastic that's also been highlighted. There is a little bit of an accessory by adding these wolf's teeth right here on the sides that also have been shaded. And as we're taking a look at the middle part of this action figure, there is clearly a wolf's teeth amulet. And in the middle section of this action figure, there are these long hoses that have been highlighted up a light silver color. And as we move on down to the middle section, we get to see another Space Wolf's chapter symbol with this fairly unadorned and plain belt. The vast majority of the decorations on this action figure are on the bottom of it. So you see this gold detailing up top on the thigh region, another Space Wolf chapter symbol, whereas on the other leg you get to see this patterning, which I'm going to assume is a fast attack unit. And then down here there is excellent detailing with some Space Wolves runic symbols. So that is the body of this action figure looked at. Let's take a look at the chainsword, and we can see that this chainsword follows in general the same construction. However, there's nice little variations here. So on the back of the chainsword, there is a red triangle patterning that you typically don't see on some chainswords, and at the end there is a wolf's tooth. Let's take a look at the plasma pistol. And the plasma pistol is really nice looking, in my opinion. There's 4 different colors, and they all really match well to the aesthetic of the plasma pistol. So you've got the gold inlaying here, and then the nice glowing plasma coils, which have a nice metallic blue glow to it. Really makes this thing jump out. Now let's take a look at the shield. And the shield has plenty of gold inlaying on the outside of it. And then it transitioned to a very dark looking Space Wolf's gray with a bunch of runes on the outside of it, and clearly a highlighted Space Wolf symbol. Backpack is one that the firstborn typically wear. You can see the array with a skull on top of it, an antenna right here, and a flat red glowing eye. All right, let's move on into taking a look at the Thunder Wolf himself. So now you may be wondering exactly what is going on with the Thunder Wolf, and I present things exactly how it is taken outside of the plastic packaging. So when I took this Thunder Wolf out from the packaging, this section came separated, which is not a big deal because it's just put together by a ball and socket joint. This section also too came off, but again, this is not a problem, mainly because, well, I can just reattach this and super glue it together. However, the issue here is at the end section, you get to see that the plastic part has completely sheared off. I will definitely be contacting David Toys to see if they can find a replacement for the tail. Either way, let's take a look at the Thunder Wolf here. We will be starting off with the front region, and the wolf's mouth is completely static. You cannot move it. The tongue is completely static as well. but I will have to say that this wolf looks very, very menacing and very intimidating. JoyToy did a very good job of capturing the ferociousness of this gigantic mount, and you can tell all throughout this action figure there is plenty of highlighting, plenty of shading that is happening. Look at all the shading right here, and then the highlighting that is happening up here too. So there is a lot of depth, a lot of detail that has been given. There's a transition from this lighter tan color all the way up to this brown color. So this is really impressive to see. You can tell that this Thunder Wolf has a bionic attachment to it, which is a very interesting take on things. There's a nod to the Space Wolves right here with a piece of armor that is in the Space Wolves color, and then the dark gunmetal of the prosthesis. And then with the other paw, I will have to say that I do love the color transition. So let's take a look at the back end of this action figure, and you get to see plenty of highlighting, shading, color transitions all throughout, which is absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. This is the Thunder Wolf Calvary saddle. So this is the area in which the Space Marine can grip, and this is the area in which the Space Marine would sit too. It looks like the tail comes in 3 different sections here. So in terms of articulation, you can actually get the wolf to rotate about the neck area 360 degrees, although it looks a little bit weird when you do it, but it is possible. And then with the front paw area, it looks like this is the maximum rotation that you can get. And then you can rotate this thing back like this, and then it stops right here. So it looks like about a 270 degrees worth of rotation. And about this hinge area right here, it looks like this is the maximum amount it can go back this way, and this is the maximum amount forward that you can get. You can rotate the paw area up like this and down like this. And I believe you can rotate this area 360 degrees. Yes, you can. The claws on this Thunder Wolf are completely static. You cannot move it. And then on the other side, this part right here, you can see the gap here can be rotated 360 degrees. And then because there is a ball and socket joint, I'm going to assume that you can rotate this body around 360 degrees like such. So with the back leg region, 360 degrees of rotation. I'm going to show you right now. And then there is 360 degrees of rotation about this ball joint. There is no hinge whatsoever here. However, there's a hinge down here, which allows this sort of back and forth movement. The tail itself is obviously in 3 different segments, and you can rotate all segments like that. So there's a lot of movement that you can get back and forth as well. With regards to the weight of this Thunder Wolf, it is a thick, chunky piece of plastic. You really feel the weight of this action figure, because I'm pretty sure that this thing is one solid piece of plastic. And so that is the review of the Thunder Wolf Calvary, and we will wrap this up to see if this particular action figure is well worth your hard-earned dollars. All right, folks, straight off the bat, this is an excellently detailed action figure. I mean, the Thunder Wolf himself is a very large, bulky creature, and you can feel the weight, like I said during the review. It makes it seem like the amount of money that you're spending on this action figure is well worth the price of admission. So I love the amount of detail that's on it, especially with all the shading, all the highlighting, and all the details with the fur is absolutely phenomenal. And with regard to the Space Marine himself up here, yeah, there was few misses with the face area, and I'll have to say it was a little bit jarring going back to a old version hand, because the hands are very tough and it's kind of hard to put the shield as well as the chainsaw into the hands. I had to finagle around with it. But regardless, this is still an excellent action figure. But I'll have to say, as a casual collector, not sure exactly this is a must-buy, but I don't think you're going to regret it if you do buy this action figure. As usual, you can pick this action figure up at David Toys, where I get all of my action figures. And before you check out, do not forget to use the code SNS to receive 12% off of your purchase. So anyways, members of the chapter, thank you for joining me in this review, and I'll see you all in the next one.